Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar on storage batteries and their importance in maximizing the potential of renewable energies. Today, we're excited to have our special guest, Cecilia Aguilon, join us for this webinar. I'd like to introduce Cecilia. Cecilia is a consultant on renewable energy projects and policy with over 30 years experience in solar policy and business development throughout the Americas. We also have two other experts on the topic who will be covering various aspects of storage batteries. The experts are Eric Hickert and Umberto Bustamante. And for those of you who don't know me already, I'm Sunita Prasad, Vice President of Corporate Development and Investor Relations at Revolve, and I will be guiding you through this interesting conversation. This webinar is the fifth in a series of 6 webinars, and the team at Revolve has organized for this year. So let's get started. We will start with Eric, who will talk about battery storage. Eric, could you explain how storage batteries work and what are the main technologies used today?
Sure. Well, maybe a little background. Why is energy or electrical energy storage important? In the past, the way the utility grids worked, as the consumers on the grid used more or less load, electricity, the utility companies had to turn on and turn off more generators. And this way, balance the load to the generation. Now, we've become a world where we're pushing, for obvious reasons, renewable sources of energy. And most of these renewable sources of energy are intermittent. So they come on, if there's wind, they slow down when there's no wind. If there's no sun, they're not generating. So then the reason to have a technology where you can store electrical energy becomes even more critical, right? So how do we do this? Well, we have to transform the energy because it's a challenge. So we use chemical, electrical processes with batteries, and this way we can store the energy. Of course, there's losses, in any transfer or conversion of energy. It's not 100% efficient. So there will be losses in charging a battery and discharging the battery. Which ones are the most common? We probably all know the first one that comes to mind, which is lead-acid batteries. And lead-acid batteries are what we had till more recently in our cars. This was the energy, the electricity we needed to start the gas or the diesel motor, to turn it and get it running. Now, lead-acid batteries are excellent batteries for that application, but they don't last that long. The problem is that after a number of years, you have to replace them, and that's because they have a limited number of cycles, charges and discharges. So one that's really taken over, we've seen them on the computers, on the phones, and now in large scale, is the lithium-ion batteries. But there's many, many other ones. There's solid-state batteries. There's different chemistries, some using lithium, some using iron, some using many other materials. So that I guess is my long answer.
Okay. Thank you, Eric. And now we will move to Umberto, who will talk about photovoltaic solar in combination with battery storage. So, Umberto, what are the main benefits of combining solar photovoltaic energy with battery storage?
The combination of solar photovoltaic energy with battery storage presents several significant advantages. It also depends if we are talking about utility scale or distributed generation that is generating on site. If we generate on site, then the benefits are different. I'm going to start with utility scale. For example, in Mexico, there was a requirement, the first utility scale battery storage project was built in Baja California and was a requirement of the government in order to not unstabilize the grid too much, because the solar was big enough for the grid that is a separate grid in Baja California from the rest of the country. Therefore, it shifted and it unstabilized it. So that was one of the main uses to stabilize the grid. And then for distributed generation, it allows us to capture and store the excess energy generated by the solar panels during peak sunlight hours, and then ensuring this clean energy is available, can be used by the factory when the sun isn't shining, such as the night or the cloudy days. And this is becoming important because the highest energy demand in Mexico, and therefore the highest cost of energy, occurs after the sunset. Then we have that with a hybrid system, it contributes to the grid stability, as we were talking about the utility scale, but can also provide great savings for reducing the maximum peak energy that the factory requires at the highest demand, overall demand of the sun, of the area that is bid where the factory is. So this is achieved by storing energy and then discharging that energy on these periods of high demand, and then that relieves the pressure on the grid and relieves the amount of the cost that has a special cost on those particular high demanded hours. And the third, I will say, is the third benefit is the impact on reducing the carbon emissions. This is a general benefit of the clean energies, but pairing solar generation and batteries can optimize better the use of the renewable energy. Sunita.
Okay, that sounds exciting. Excellent, Humberto. Finally, we have Cecilia, who will talk about the market and current situation in the US regarding battery storage. So, Cecilia, what is the current situation of the battery storage market in the United States, and what trends are expected in the coming years?
Mute.
My apologies. Thank you, Sunita. Well, the United States wants to be a leader in the renewable energy market, both in the production, use, and manufacturing of technologies, obviously. So there are a lot of very aggressive goals to reach 100% renewable energy as soon as possible, many by 2050. But we also have a lot of investment going on in the market. Now, the market for batteries is supposed to reach or surpass $4 billion by 2030. And from 2022 to 2023, the market grew 100% year over year. So this is what we're seeing. We're seeing also that the growth is driven by the decreasing costs of the technologies and government incentives, such as the Inflation Reduction Act, that has made it possible to increase the level of investment and also produce more competition in the market. This is particular for the residential, commercial, and industrial markets.
Now, an additional round of questions for each speaker. Eric, we know that energy density and battery life are fundamental aspects of their performance. Could you explain how research is being developed in these areas to improve the efficiency and durability of storage batteries?
Sure, happy to do that. Let's think of lead acid batteries. You know, they have typically sulfuric acid, and they have these sheets of lead, but floating in this aqueous solution, right? Well, these batteries are heavy. You wouldn't be able to use a lead acid battery in an application like an airplane. They'd be too heavy, too large, and they wouldn't cycle long enough. So, you'd be installing them on a plane, and maybe in less than a year, you'd need to be replacing them. So what ends up happening is you have to look at different chemistries, at different metals, at different ideas in order to make batteries more compact, more dense, energy dense. And lithium ion has been a big advancement. I mean, if you look at the size of a lead acid battery with the same capacity as a lithium ion battery, I mean, it's less than half the size. So, and that depends. There's even more efficient versions of lithium ion. There's something called lithium phosphate iron lipo batteries, super dense, a little bit more dangerous, but that's what research has to do. What we want is for them to be as small as possible, as compact as possible, and to have the largest amount of capacity, and at the same time that they can last through hundreds, if not thousands or millions of cycles. And there's other technologies that are supporting it as well. There's something now called supercapacitors, and you combine a lithium ion battery with a supercapacitor, and all of the quick charges and discharges can be done with the supercapacitor, and the battery is used for the larger storage, right? So there's many ideas, there's many exciting things coming in the future. And they'll lower the cost, they'll make them more dense, and they'll last longer. And of course, something we're all concerned with is that they have a minimum impact on the environment, right? Because some of these chemicals aren't that friendly. So the more friendly we can make the chemicals of the batteries, the better for everyone, for the world.
Yeah, for sure. Humberto, the integration of energy storage systems in photovoltaic solar installations can have a significant impact on energy resilience. Could you explain how these systems can contribute to the stability of the electrical grid and energy demand management in emergency situations?
Absolutely. Integrating storage systems into photovoltaic solar installations is a game changer for enhancing energy resilience and ensuring stability. It also varies, as I was talking before, depending if we are talking on utility scale or distributed generation scale. For utility scale, it is more about being able to mitigate the effect that the solar plant has on the grid, and to reduce the intermittency, because especially for cloudy days, you can have significant changes in very small periods of time when a heavy cloud arrives to above the power plant. And in terms of distributed generation, you can have unexpected power outages, and energy storage systems can step in as a critical backup solution. They allow stored energy to be deployed immediately and ensuring that essential services continue operating. It also helps to stabilize for certain areas, to contribute for maybe these fossil fuels scarcity, like it has happened during the strong winters in Texas in a couple of years ago, and then the battery storage can help support. It is not for long. It's also important to understand what it is and what can help and what it cannot help. It is not there yet to be feasible. It can be done, but it is not feasible economically. to install a big enough storage system to support the grid for days. It is not possible yet. Hopefully in the future, but right now it can help for hours. So that is the range at the moment.
Okay, I sure remember the Texas situation a couple years ago. So that's exciting information. Thanks for sharing, Umberto. Cecilia, let's go to you. The battery storage market in the United States is experiencing accelerated growth. What opportunities and challenges do you identify in this market in terms of expansion and large-scale adoption?
Thank you. So to follow up on Humberto's and actually Eric's as well, talk earlier just now, that the opportunities to me are in the diversification. When lithium is no longer the only game in town, now we have other technologies. So that will allow us to find a way to do what Eric was saying and reduce the carbon footprint and whatever issues that we have with the current, offerings right now in lithium. Also to improve on the longevity. So we have technologies that are coming in, like they do 4 hours, 12 hours a day to store. So we have to make that better, go to days. And I know right now it looks far off, but if you remember the solar technology, I mean, I was in the business when doing 100 kilowatt project was a big deal. And look at us now, and it took 10 years. So we've been at the energy storage early. Right now, we could say it's growing fast and it's growing worldwide, but the opportunities are into improving, keeping innovating the technology, and to increase the range for storage that will help us reduce or eliminate the intermittency. I hear was that the IEA did a report, and somebody, a spokesperson, I heard yesterday in the news saying that 10% of the solar that could be used has to be curtailed in the Southwest. And that's a travesty because we are desperately needing to decarbonize our energy matrix. So this is a great opportunity for the companies that are investing in new technology, doing new things, and also to improve the technology that we have. In terms of the challenges, I think that to me, the two main ones are really crucial. One is to, find a way to effectively integrate the storage systems to the grid. And to me, the culprit, because I've been involved in policy a lot of my life, is the regulatory and permitting barriers. We should not be playing around with this. We have to take this seriously. And state regulatory utility companies and legislators have to really find a way to pave the path for these technologies instead of blocking them with the regulation that is confusing, that changes from one day to another. That is not helpful. So I'm hoping that as they see like the disasters that are happening even to us in the United States, like the hurricanes in Florida, that they actually take a step and say, we have the technology right now, let's push it forward. And I think it can be done sooner than even before 10 years, like we did with solar.
And I'm sure over the years, you've seen a lot of things change, a lot of things develop. And that's great insight. Thanks for sharing, Cecilia. Thank you all for your detailed and enriching responses. I want to thank our speakers for sharing their knowledge and experiences in the field of battery storage and renewable energy. It has been an informative webinar for sure that has allowed us to better understand the importance of batteries in maximizing the potential of renewable energies. I hope this discussion has been inspiring for all of you as it has been for me. it definitely encourages us to continue exploring new sustainable solutions for the energy future. Thank you all for joining us today. Goodbye.
Thank you.